Hi, this is Kendra from Pencil and Pigment, and today is Vlogoween day 23. And I thought for talking about compositions, we would look at some famous artists in history, some famous pieces of art. You may have heard of some of these artists, you may have seen some of these paintings. Some of these aren't quite as widely known as some of their more famous work. I tried to throw in a smattering of folks. We'll see how I did. I'm going to start with Mary Cassatt, and she was an American painter and printmaker, and she lived from 1944 to 1926. And this picture is called The Parrot, and it was done in 1891. And I just thought we would have a look at this illustration and see how bird art and birds add to art that we create, that we go to look at, that we enjoy, that we want to buy, that we want to see made in the world, that we want to create. I thought we would just analyze this. Now, this picture is very interesting. One, it doesn't have any color, so we don't have to worry about color theory or moods and things that color evokes, and we will get to that in some later art pieces, definitely. But this one, it's just the lines, and obviously the darkest value is kind of the hair and the face. And we go towards, when we look at a piece of art, we go towards things we recognize right away. And the first thing that we as humans look at are faces. So our eye is immediately drawn to her face, but then we look at what she's looking at, and it's kind of a diagonal line from her head down the back of the bird, looking down. So it becomes kind of a seamless thing where the bird is almost a part of her. Like she's holding it, but it fits so well in this sort of triangular shape that it's fitting. It adds to the illustration. She's looking at this bird with love, with longing, with how she sees this bird, and the bird is obviously trusting because it's sitting there. It looks content. It's not trying to fly away. Like there's a mutual adoration thing going on here between the two of them, if not just a monicum of trust. And the line art is spectacular. She has added lines where the lines are important. So the skirt doesn't really add to it. We know it's a female. We know she's wearing probably the proper clothing of the era, but it's not something that needed more lines than just, you know, the half a dozen she dedicated to that skirt. It's the blouse, it's the shadow, it's the bird, it's her hair, it's the face. It's the very fine lines of the lips, the eyelashes, the eyebrows. I'm here for it. I like a 3/4 profile view. I think this is very, very well done. I love that there's a bird in this. She typically did a lot of painting. She painted a lot of females, and she painted a lot of relationships of like mothers and daughters. So it's really, really interesting to see an illustration that's a woman with her pet. And I love that. I'm here for it. I will link this. I will link an article about Mary Cassatt if you want to continue to look at some of her work. It was very impressionist, and again, oil paintings. They're very beautiful if you're interested in that type of art. Let's move on to the next person. So the next one I want to look at, and this is Frida Kahlo, and a lot of you may be familiar with her. She was a Mexican painter, and she lived from 1907 to 1954, and she did nothing but self-portraits. A lot of people are familiar with her life and why she chose to focus on herself. And in this portrait, it's called Self-Portrait with Thorn Necklace and Hummingbird. This was done in 1940. And again, what our eyes immediately go to are the eyes looking at us. Our face is drawn instantly to the face. And as we move around, we see the monkey, we see the pet cat, we see the hummingbird. She had a lot of pets in her life. She never had children from a horrific trolley accident when she was younger. So her pets became her family, and she incorporated those in her portraits. But here is a bird. It is center. It is hanging from thorns from her neck. It adds sort of a macabre kind of beauty and intrigue, like you're wondering about the thorns that are trying to prick her neck, the little drops of blood, like the pain she could be in. like why she would wear a necklace made from a dead bird. Like that's a whole thing. And there's dragonflies and butterflies and all, just, you know, the botany, the leaves in the background. It's very rich with color, but the black, her hair on top, the cat and monkey on the right and left, and the bird on the bottom are all balanced in a circle. All those really the darkest values. It's all a balance. And I think it looks really, really beautiful like that. I think the bird adds to the composition. It adds to the balance. Obviously, her eyebrows are also another dark, striking feature that the wings kind of mirror down below. The wings mirror her eyebrows. So it's kind of a repetitive line thing that adds to the composition. It's very, very fascinating when you start breaking down repetitive elements and looking at lines and looking how color balances and equals things out. It's a very, very beautiful painting. She's saying a lot. She's saying a lot. So if you delve into, I will link an article about her life. If you delve into her life and sort of the things she endured in her marriage and her relationships and all these different things, you will see why she felt sort of stuck and pained and trapped in her own body and trying to find replacements for the child she couldn't have through animals. It's just a very fascinating thing. Like, she's telling her story through this painting, and the dead bird adds to that. It very much adds to her grief and how short life is. All right, let's look at the next one. You may or may not be familiar with this artist. Dorothea Tanning. She was an American painter, printmaker, sculptor, writer, poet. She did a bunch of surrealism, and she lived from 1910 to 2012. She did very well. Good job, Dorothea. And these are called Night Shadows. And I will link an article about her. There's also a digital issue magazine that you can flip through on your computer of these sort of original character birds she did, or birds dressed up. So the first one, I will show you two of them. The first one is sort of a woman in a ballet outfit wearing what looks like, it's the costume design for Bayou in 1951. This is a collection from the artist. It looks like a stork, maybe. A very long orange-billed outfit. I love this illustration. It looks like it could be like pastel or ink or paint. I don't know what the medium is. This one's absolutely gorgeous. I love the lines. I love that the color of the legs matches the beak. They belong. They're the same color value. I love that she understood complementary colors. So while we have orange, the background is blue. Those colors complement each other. It's kind of a greenish blue, but again, the orange is kind of a pinkish. So you get what I'm saying. Like, it's very much, those are meant to pop as much as possible. And then with the two most exacting colors, black and white, make the whole thing pop. And you see the eye on the head, and just, it's not an overly complicated illustration, but you get the drop shadow from the toes. You get that they're on point. She didn't even need to draw the point shoes. We have the feathers. There's no need for the arms. The absolute head feather is absolutely stunning. And it comes out. You get the little tiny wisps of the face. And this is such a fun, like, costume design. This would be a fun character design. This would be a fun way to do Birdtober and incorporate people wearing like costumes or masks, or maybe they're part bird, like they're shifters or some sort of thing if you're interested in fantasy genres. It's very, very beautiful. I love the incorporation of this. I love surrealism. I think it's a ton of fun to play around with. The other one is this one. This is Night Shadows. This one's from 1945, and this looks like some sort of parrot, maybe, dressed up in I love this outfit. I don't know, the outfit kind of screams like 40s, 50s to me. I know it was done in 45, but like the outfit is so on point with the era. And the green of the dress matches the green of the outfit. Obviously, there's no background in this. And we have arms in this, and we have, you know, feet with little ballet shoes, and the shoes match the belt, match the bow on top, everything match, match, match. Like everything color codes goes together, but there's some sort of like bird headdress deal that's on top that's absolutely stunning. And the colors, like the salmon on top matches the sleeves, matches the ruffle in the dress. Like it's all color coordinated. It all goes together. They're all, like, and red and green are complementary colors. So again, understanding what makes certain colors pop and look better and more bright and like really complement each other. She did a great job with this. Again, the arms I think are wearing like some sort of long sleeve glove. You see a little bit of tiny skin under the sleeve, and then the rest looks white. The arms aren't the important thing. What we're looking at is the outfit, and we're looking at the headdress. And again, this is such a fun, surreal, interesting way to draw birds, to incorporate birds, to think outside of the box. And again, her figures aren't drawn to like any form of realism. Nobody's waist is that tiny, but you get the design anyway. You get what she's doing. You absolutely understand that there's a woman in here doing a dance with ballet shoes. So obviously this is some sort of costume for an event, for a performance. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful, it's unique, and I'm absolutely here for it. The next one I want to talk about, and I don't know how many people are familiar with this gentleman. His name is Philippe Ferdinand de Hamilton, and he was born in 1664 to 1750. And he was a painter from southern Netherlands, and he did a lot of, like an 18th century painter. He did, and he was active in Austria, but he did a lot of like oil paintings that included animals. And I want to show you my favorite one. I can link a page that has some other ones. This one's called Barnyard Scene with a Cock, Pigeons, and Guinea Pigs from 1746. And I love this painting. And this is like how we talk about color and use of color and composition and including birds as part of a story. So we have an absolute lot to unpack in this. You can see the thatched homes in the back left. You can see what looks like, I don't know, a hunting blind or some sort of huge bird keep or something sort of in the middle left. And then in the foreground, we have the guinea pigs, we have a bird in flight, we have the rooster, a pigeon, we have all these different birds. And it's the action sequence of the bird in flight and the bird sort of on the ground looking up at it, like they're about ready to attack each other and fight, that gives this painting a feeling of like motion and interest, and your eye goes, what the heck is going on here? What is all this? And the way he did this with such a moody, dark background. Like the background isn't bright, and you can't really tell if the sun is going down or if the sun's coming up. There's obviously some sort of front light situation, but the darkness of the background adds to this bird fight. I'm going to call it a bird fight. This bird instigation. These birds having a heated argument. They're very much in motion, and birds in motion tell a different story than a bird just sitting there, standing there, laying there. So, because the other bird's feathers are so ruffled and pulled apart like it's about ready to move too, it seems like there's a bit of emotion linked into this painting because of this. Like he took a bunch of birds, and there's a bunch on the right, and then he has these two on the left in motion, and it balances it out. If he had all the birds on the left and just those two white birds sitting, if he had all these birds on the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 5 of them, and then these two white birds on the left just sitting down, it would look unbalanced. But because there's one in flight, like in the air, it sort of evens out the composition, so your eye doesn't go to one place for too long and stay there. Your eye really moves around and wants to see the whole story, the whole situation. It absolutely wants to know what's going on. because that rooster is so big, and there's pigeons, and there's so many birds on the right-hand side that they have to do something to pull the eye up on the left as well. And he did that with a bird in flight. Like, that was a conscious choice. He's also telling a story. Maybe these birds hate each other. Maybe they love each other. I am uncertain. But it's dark and it's moody, and there's very rich, like, ochres with this rooster, and these very sagey greens with the leaves. And so there's complementary colors within those. But the white is so white. It's bright. You look at that bird and you see that story of them in flight, and it just, you get this feeling from this painting. It's not just like a stagnant illustration or a painting or a piece of art. There's something going on, and it's a lot. And I really love the rooster tail feathers. Oh my God, he did such a great job. So I really, really love this one. Plus, I mean, guinea pigs. Like, if we can incorporate more guinea pigs in art, I just think that would be a great idea for everyone. It's just so dang cute. Like, what are they doing there? What are they looking at? Why is everybody here? Why are they all collected at this time? Shouldn't they be doing, like, go do work. Go do your job. Don't you have barn things to do? Like, I just want to know. I just love this painting. It's a whole lot of tons of birds, and they're beautiful, and they're bright, and they're colorful, and it's just unique to me, especially, you know, for 1746. All right, the last one I want to talk about, we're going to separate the art from the artist, but I wanted to do one where everybody knew who the artist was, and that's Picasso. And he was a Spanish painter, sculptor, printmaker, ceramicist. He did a bunch of things. I'll link an article. And he lived from 1881 to 1973, 75, I don't remember. Anyway, I want to talk about two of his bird pictures. So he has two. There is the sparrow line drawing from 1907. And then there's this fun thing, which is called Bird on a Tree. And Bird on a Tree is from 1928, which is obviously a painting. So I wanted to look at these in terms of one artist, two completely different art, illustration, painting styles, and what that does for the art, for the composition. So if we look at the sparrow line drawing from 1907, it looks like a continuous line, but the line has different width value. In doing art like this, in doing a drawing like this, the less you have on the page, the more important the stuff you do have on the page becomes. So if you only have one line on that page, that line on the page has to be almost perfect. Like, if you've seen single line drawing art of profiles of people in motion, it's like a minimalist drawing style. That's very hard to do. I am so poor at this. I can't even tell you how I can't do this. Like, I could wax on for an hour about like how bad I am at this one line drawing art, because it's so hard. You have to figure out what the most important part of your subject matter is and include that in the one line. So he was able to do feet, the feather, the side wing, and the eye with the one line. And that was the most important thing for him to convey, along with the shape of the bird with kind of the tail-ish, that still shows this is a sparrow. Like, how close can this be to not being a sparrow and still be a sparrow? And I think he nailed it. I think he absolutely nailed it. And part of the thing with something that looks this simplistic is that when he throws down his signature, it becomes another element of design within this art piece. So the signature almost grounds the bird, like gives a landing spot for the bird, that you know that it reiterates where the ground is, where the line is. It's very, very simple, but that's why it's so hard. So I never like count out things like this because they're so unique. And it really takes a talent of eye to be able to do something like this that just can convey something so effectively with one line. Like, respect to that art style. Now this one, Bird on a Tree from 1928, again, we know he was into abstract and a little cubism and a bunch of different like painting styles within his lifetime. How closely can you get to a bird without it being a bird, but everybody knows it's a bird? Right. So your birds don't have to be birds. They don't have to be. And so for context, so people could still tell what this is, he added a tree. He added branches. He added leaves. He added like a sunset. He added what looks like stars in the sky, or bugs, perhaps. I'm uncertain. Is this his crow? Is this how he draws a crow? It's an orange-beaked blackbird. So, the context of this composition add to the subject matter. If this was nothing in the background and it was just this four-pointed shape with legs, eyes, and red lips, would we still know it's a bird if it didn't have a tree? And does the tree add to this illustration? Obviously, it's rich in color. We understand that. There's a lot of blues in the black of the bird. And that gives it sort of a rippled, corrugated looking pattern on this bird. But the branch that goes all the way up and the branch that comes all the way out kind of enclose and encase this bird. It reiterates what this bird is. And the wings aren't touching the leaves or the branches. Like it's on the tree, but it's not a part of the tree. Like everything was so specifically done to convey this is a bird, right? And I love this. I love the pushing of the envelope with design styles, with art styles within art. I just wanted to show you like a couple things real quick to get you thinking about line, shape, style, color. It could be an illustration. It can be one line. It can be an original character. It can be a four-pointed star-looking bird. It can be anything you want it to be. It can have guinea pigs. It could be hanging from a necklace. I just wanted to show you some wild things. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.